Good morning, students. On today's lecture, I'll cover how to solve the trigonometric function. Before I do that, we need to recall some of the trigonometric properties we have learned. In the first quadrant, if we go anti-clockwise, in the first quadrant, all trigonometric ratios are positive. In the second quadrant, sine is positive. In the third quadrant, tan positive, and the fourth quadrant, cos is positive. To help us remember this, we use a mnemonic, all student 2 chemistry. The first letter of all is A, and this is all, so all positive over here in the first quadrant. Second letter is first letter is S, that represents sine theta, and third word's first letter is T represent the tan theta, and fourth word's first letter is C represent cos theta. Now, to be sine positive, we can see that it's in the first quadrant and the second quadrant, sine positive. Now, first quadrant is theta, since theta is acute, and second quadrant we can go all the way over here, 180 minus theta. That's going to give us in the second quadrant. So sine is going to be positive over here. To be sine negative, we can see that sine negative in the third quadrant and the fourth quadrant. So that's going to be 180 plus theta. That's going to give me this black ink I have used, that's 180 plus theta. That gives me an angle in the third quadrant, and this bluish color, it's 360 minus theta. That's gives me an angle in the fourth quadrant. Tan to be positive, we can see that in the first quadrant tan positive, all positive, and the third quadrant tan positive. So in the first quadrant this brown color theta, and the third quadrant 180 plus theta. This gives me an angle in the third quadrant. So in these two quadrants, first quadrant and third quadrant, tan is positive. And tan to be negative, we have second quadrant and the fourth quadrant. In second quadrant, we can go this black color, 180 minus theta, that's in the third quadrant, and bluish color, that's in the fourth quadrant, 360 minus theta. And cos to be positive, it's in the first quadrant and the fourth quadrant, and first quadrant is theta, that's brown color, and the red color is in the fourth quadrant. And cos to be negative, we have second quadrant and the third quadrant, so that's going to be 180 minus theta, that's black coloring, theta, that's in the second quadrant, and that bluish color 180 plus theta, that's in the third quadrant. Okay, we need to remember that when you do a little bit of this trigonometric solutions, if you do that, then this automatically you're gonna get inside your head. But there are some of the ways I'll show you that you can deal with. Okay, let me do the first one, very simple one, y equal to sine x. We need to solve that. Okay, this graph when it's intersect with the x-axis, so it's gonna be sine x equal to 0. We're gonna solve this, and to be solving this, x is going to be, I'm gonna take a domain of x. X gonna lie in between 0 degree to 360 degree, and if I look here, this is the graph of the sine theta. See, y equal to sine theta. So this is y. This is our sine graph over here. The domain of x is 0 to 360 degree. So this is one complete revolution, one complete cycle, or we can call it oscillation. It takes 360 degrees. So the period of this graph is 360 degree. And when sine x equal to 0, that means where we're gonna have 0, that's gonna be actually this is actually combination of two different curve or graph. One is y equal to sine x, and another one is y equal to 0. Now we're gonna equate this two. Okay, y equal to this function of that, and y equal to 0. We are equating this and putting over here sine x equal to 0. What that actually means? It means the graph, the sine graph, where it intersect in the x-axis. Okay, in x-axis, you remember that in x-axis y equal to 0. Let me write down that on x-axis y equal to 0. So as soon as we say that sine x equal to 0, that means we are saying that where this graph, or sine graph in this case, where this graph intersect or pass through the x-axis. So I can see there are three places, 0, then 180 and 360. Now we can use our calculator to find that one. X is going to be sine inverse 0. Now, a lot of teachers, they don't like it to use sine inverse because let's say A and B and over C. So A, if I take B to that side, A equal to C by B, and then this can be written as B to the power 1 negative 1 and C. And sine, it's sometimes people can think that it's going to be sine x equal to 0 and x equal to 0 divided by sine and then sine to the power minus 1 equal to 0. So it can mean like that. Okay. The reason they don't want it, because this cannot be separated. Sine x, this is one value. Sine x is one value. You cannot separate that. But to compare that, we can write it down this as this one is a whole thing. Nothing wrong with that. But in this case, some teacher, they don't like it. Okay, I hope you understand that. Now we're going to use this calculator. Make sure your calculator is in degree mode, because we have the range or the domain of x given 0 to 360 degree. Okay, so this is going to be sine inverse. See that sine inverse 0. I got 0. So that's first one is 0. And then 180 minus theta. I hope you remember 180 minus theta. 180 minus theta, that's going to give me 180 degree, and then excuse me, and 360 degree, another one. All these three cases, I'm gonna have sine x equal to 0. We're gonna check that. Okay, sine 0 degree gonna give me 0. Sine 180 degree, that's also gonna give me 0. I hope you can see that. Okay, and sine 360 degree, that's also give me 0. You could see this over here, right? Now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna change this a little bit. Okay, I'm gonna use this sine x equal to 0.75. Now what do we mean by that? Similarly to this one, I have there in here two different trigonometric function. One is one trigonometric function and one a regular linear graph. This is gonna be y equal to sine x, and this is going to be y equal to 0.75. This means that we have to find out this graph, how many places or where it intersects the y equal to 0.75. I'm gonna draw this line over here. This is 1, 0 to 1. This is 0.5, so 0.75 somewhere over here. So I'm just going to draw a line over here, and let me use a different color. This is my 0.75. So y equal to 0.75. I hope you can see that. And this line intersect this graph in two different points. You can see that there is 1 point and there is 1 point. And this point lies in between 0 and 90 degree. And this point lies between 90 and 180 degree. Now remember, sine is positive in the first quadrant and fourth quadrant. First quadrant and second quadrant. Over here you can see that this is 0 to 90 degree first quadrant and 90 to 180 degree, that's second quadrant. Okay, we need to find out this angle, what this angles equals to and what this angles equal to right over here. So again, we are going to do this way. X equal to sine inverse 0.75. So that's gonna be shift then sine. You're gonna get sine inverse, then 0.75. I got 48.6 degree, correct to one decimal place. You know that in our CIE exam, angle supposed to be given in one decimal place. So that's that. And another one in the second quadrant. Second quadrant is going to be 180 minus this, since this is acute. So 48.6 degree. So I have 48.6 degree and 180 minus the answer. I had this answer before. So it's going to be 131.4 degree. Let me be sure, just plug this value in this in the place of x. So sine 48.6, it's going to be 0.75 and something. Remember, I rounded off, so it's something like that. So it's pretty much okay. We are okay. And then sine 131.4, and that gives me 0.75. So we are okay over here. If I go back and look at this graph, see that 0 to 90 degree, the first one was 48.6. Now in between this, it's 45 right over here and somewhere over here, and that value is this question mark is 48.6, and this question mark is 131.4. 131.4. Okay, I hope you can understand that. What if I'll just take a few more minutes. What if instead of this, I have sine x equal to minus 0.75. Same thing like that. One trigonometric graph is y equal to sine x, and another linear graph is, or line is y equal to 0.75. Now minus, in this case, minus 0.75. So minus 0.5 should be somewhere over here. I'm going to draw this line right over here. So it's going to be somewhere over here. And then we can see this graph, sine graph, intersected with this y equal to minus 0.75 at two different points. One is here and one is here. Similarly, before, we're going to find out what this angle equals to and what this angle is equal to. Again, let's go and do this x equal to sine inverse minus 0.75 and sine inverse minus 0.75. I got minus 48.6. Now this is negative. Okay, now remember that if we go anti-clockwise, that's our positive theta, but this angle means we are coming to this negative on the clockwise direction. So when I extend this and draw a perpendicular line over here, we can say that this angle actually falls in the fourth quadrant. Now fourth quadrant, sine is negative. We remember that, right? Cos is positive in the fourth quadrant, so sine is negative here. So but we don't want it. The reason is our domain is 0 to 360 degrees, so we don't want it. The thing we want one of the angle, since sine is negative, one of the angle to be in the third quadrant and another angle to be fourth quadrant. Now this can be written as, if this is negative theta, this can be written as 360 minus theta, and that's gonna be 360 minus 48.6. Remember, forget about the sign, just you have to fill this one in the fourth quadrant. So it's gonna be 311.4, and to be in the second quadrant, we can add that theta to 180 degree, regardless the value of this negative 48.6. If you subtract that, it's gonna it's gonna be falling in the second quadrant, and in second quadrant sine is positive. We don't want that, so we're gonna add this theta with 180 degree. So 180 plus 48.6, I got here 228.6. So another value is 228.6. So these two values is gonna give me sine to be negative 0.75. Now let's check that. So this is in the third quadrant, in between 180 and 270. See that 180 and 270. So this angle is going to be 228.6, and this one in between 270 to 360, 270 to 360, and that's gonna be 311.4. Checking with the calculator if we are right or not. Sine 228.6, that's gonna give us negative 0.75, and sine 311.4, that's also gonna give me negative 0.75. So we are okay with that. That was very basic of trigonometric function, and I'm gonna do another sine graph. I'm gonna solve another sine graph or sine equation, trigonometric function, in my next video. Okay, thank you. See you in next video. Take care.